comes down to the last shot of the game, I should be the one to be able to take it and hit it. Because if you're going to be good at anything, you got to practice. And I always feel that the only way you can get better is go out there and shoot and get your...
Larry Bird wasn't just a player who mastered the art of competition. He was also someone who appreciated talent and heart when he saw them. Throughout his career, Bird had fierce, timeless rivalries and moments of respect with some of the game's greatest players. But who did the man nicknamed the Hick from French Lick admire not just for their ability to win, but for how they won? Let's break down Bird's admiration for 6 basketball legends and the heartfelt stories behind them. Magic Johnson, the greatest rival turned closest friend. Few rivalries in sports history can match the sheer intensity of Bird and Magic Johnson's on-court battles. Their story began in the 1979 NCAA's championship game, where Magic's Michigan State took down Bird's Indiana State in a clash that set the tone for what would become an NBA-defining basketball rivalry. Throughout the 1980s, their battles in the Celtics-Lakers finals were must-watch showdowns that sparked debates and united fans across the world. But for Bird, Magic wasn't just his counterpart in those historic battles. He was someone who elevated his game and challenged him like nobody else. In a 1987 interview, Bird said, "Magic is the best I've ever played against. His leadership, his ability to get everyone involved, and the way he controls the pace of the game, it's almost frustrating because you have to play perfect to keep up." Their rivalry took an emotional turn in 1991 when Magic revealed his HIV diagnosis. Bird, known for his stoic demeanor, was one of Magic's loudest supporters. "When I heard the news, I didn't think about basketball anymore. I just thought about my friend," Bird shared. In a later podcast, Bird said, "Magic wasn't just my rival, he became my brother. We competed, we argued sometimes, but he was and still is a guy I genuinely love and respect." Off court, their bond grew stronger with retirement. The two teamed up for commercials, speeches, and even joint appearances where they famously joked about their fights on the court. Bird summarized it best. "Magic is someone I didn't like wearing that Lakers jersey, but when he's just Magic, the guy, the human, I couldn't have asked for a better friend. He's a legend for all the right reasons." Kevin McHale, the backbone of Celtics excellence. When Bird talks about teammates who helped shape his Celtics dynasty, one name stands above the rest: Kevin McHale. Known for his lethal post moves and unstoppable defense, McHale was like a Swiss Army knife on the court, capable of doing everything Bird needed to turn talent into championships. The duo helped the Celtics win 3 rings during the 1980s, solidifying their place as one of the most dominant duos the NBA has ever seen. Bird often described McHale's skill set as unfair and even went as far as saying, "Kevin had moves so good, they should have been illegal." In an interview with ESPN, Bird shared a playful memory from practice where McHale would throw sneaky elbows or pull off impossible spin moves to mess with him. He'd laugh and I'd say, "Someday those tricks are going to get you knocked out." But honestly, I loved it, and it showed how smart and crafty he was. Their mutual respect wasn't just confined to the court. Bird once called McHale the ultimate teammate, saying, "When we needed a stop, Kevin gave us 2. When I had an off night, Kevin carried us." You don't replace a guy like that, you cherish him. Years later, Bird admitted that McHale's underappreciation outside Celtics fandom bothered him deeply. "If people don't see Kevin as one of the greatest, then they weren't watching basketball in the 80s, Bird said in a podcast. Focused and endlessly dependable, McHale wasn't just a teammate. He was Bird's secret weapon. Michael Jordan, the greatest competitor Bird ever faced. If there was one player who truly tested Bird's greatness, it was Michael Jordan. The battles between the Celtics and Jordan's Chicago Bulls were some of the fiercest in playoff history, but Bird always walked away in awe of his opponent. In a memorable post-game interview following Jordan's explosive 63-point playoff performance in 1986, Bird famously said, "That's not MJ out there. It's God disguised as Michael Jordan." Bird marveled at Jordan's hunger, competitive fire, and refusal to back down, even against the mighty Celtics dynasty. "Every time he stepped on the court, you knew you were in for a fight," Bird said in an NBC documentary. Despite their heated battles, Bird never hesitated to acknowledge Jordan's brilliance. "He has everything: athleticism, leadership, and the ability to take over a game like no one else can." Their mutual respect wasn't one-sided. Jordan once called Bird one of the smartest players to ever live and recognized how tough it was to outwit him. "Bird didn't give you anything easy. You had to earn it," Jordan admitted in a podcast. Even as Bird transitioned into coaching, his admiration for Jordan never wavered. Michael wasn't just the greatest scorer, he was also the fiercest competitor I've ever seen. He elevated everyone on the court, even me, Bird shared during a magazine feature on the Bulls legend. Whether as rivals or mutual admirers, their connection symbolized the heights of basketball greatness. Reggie Miller, the king of clutch. Few players have earned the title clutch like Reggie. For Bird, Reggie wasn't just an opponent he admired, he became someone Bird personally helped turn into an icon of Indiana basketball. The connection started when Bird stepped into his post-playing career and became head coach and executive of the Indiana Pacers. But make no mistake, Bird already respected who Miller was long before their official partnership. Bird famously labeled Miller as one of the toughest guys I've ever watched play. Miller wasn't the biggest or fastest player, but what separated him was his swagger, sharp shooting, and his ability to hit impossible shots under pressure. In a 2005 interview, Bird recalled watching Miller during the 1995 playoff game against the Knicks, where Miller scored 8 points in just 9 seconds to steal Game 1. When I saw him pull off that miracle, I wasn't just impressed, I was inspired. Reggie lives for those kinds of moments, Bird admitted. When Bird took over as Pacers coach, his mission was to elevate Miller's greatness even further. Winning isn't just about scoring, it's about leading, Bird told Miller during practice, encouraging him to focus on defense and team leadership. Miller later credited Bird in a documentary saying, "Larry didn't coach like others. He gave you confidence in who you could be. He pushed me to be more than just a shooter. He taught me the meaning of making your team better." Together, Bird and Miller built a golden era for the Pacers, turning them into perennial contenders and leaving behind a legacy of sharpshooting excellence. Bird never hesitated to say Reggie was always built differently. Trash talk doesn't faze him, pressure doesn't faze him. He just thrives. That's what made Reggie one of the best I've ever seen. LeBron James, the modern Superman in sneakers. James and Bird might have never shared the court, but Bird has been one of LeBron's biggest admirers since the young phenom burst into the NBA spotlight. From his mix of size, athleticism, and basketball intelligence, Bird saw shades of the greats in LeBron, but with a modern twist. LeBron makes everyone around him better, and you hardly ever see that combination of skill and unselfishness, Bird said in a 2012 interview. LeBron's ability to blend scoring, rebounding, and defense reminded Bird of Magic Johnson, but with a more explosive scoring touch. Watching LeBron feels like watching magic, but he can take over as a scorer any time. That's a rare combination that's almost unfair to play against, Bird joked during an ESPN broadcast. He also praised how LeBron handled the immense pressure that came with being labeled the chosen one at just 18 years old. "I don't think many players could survive being a superstar that young," Bird remarked in a podcast. When LeBron finally won his first NBA championship in 2012, Bird publicly congratulated him, calling it inevitable. "You knew it was going to happen because players like him don't just come around often. He's built differently," Bird said. He went further to call LeBron the complete player, one who doesn't just dominate physically, but also elevates teammates with smart decision-making and game leadership. For Bird, LeBron represents the perfect evolution of the game, someone who values both individual dominance and team success. Nobody plays the game like LeBron does, and one day we'll talk about him in the exact same way we talk about Magic, Jordan, and the greats, Bird concluded with confidence.
When the clock hit triple zeros, what's the first thing that ran through your mind?
It's about damn time.
Bill Russell, the blueprint for winning. It's no secret that Bird held overwhelming respect for Russell, the man who built the very foundation of Celtics glory. Russell's staggering 11 championships and unrivaled leadership were traits Bird often looked to as inspiration, especially as he led Boston during his own dynasty years in the 1980s. Russell isn't just a legend, he's Boston basketball, Bird proudly stated during Russell's Hall of Fame ceremony. What Bird admired most about Russell was his mindset. He didn't care about personal stats, he cared about one thing: winning. "I tried to model my game and leadership after Russell's focus on teamwork. He was about elevating everyone else, not just himself. That's what makes someone truly great," Bird shared in a Sports Illustrated interview. Bird's appreciation went beyond the numbers. He loved Russell's mental toughness and ability to outthink opponents. Bill's greatest gift wasn't scoring. It was his ability to make you believe you couldn't beat him, Bird said during an appearance at an NBA Legends panel. That kind of psychological dominance is rare in sports, and that's why no one will ever match his 11 rings. Even though Bird and Russell belong to different eras, their shared bond as Celtics icons connected them deeply. Bird often referred to Russell as the ultimate leader and winner, emphasizing that Russell's influence shaped not only him, but generations of Celtics greats afterward. If you're a Boston basketball player, you owe something to Bill Russell, period. These players helped shape Bird's journey and his own legacy. By battling them or playing alongside them, Bird grew into one of the wisest minds in basketball history. And let's be honest, when someone like Larry admires you, it says something about how special you are. Through iconic moments and lasting friendships, Bird's favorite players reveal one simple truth: greatness recognizes greatness. And whether you're a Larry Bird fan or someone who just loves basketball, these names remind us of why the sport continues to inspire and amaze generations of fans. That's all for this one. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.